Seconds, Mimi.
Okay.
You're live on
Sounds
Facebook now.
Great. Good evening, everybody. Welcome Thursday night to Shredders Unite Biz Call. I'm going to do one more thing here with Jesse. Jesse, you're now host. Thank you, one and all, and welcome. I'm super excited tonight because I have a real special opportunity to bring in. What's that? Sorry about that. Okay, Jesse, your host. Start 1, 2, 3. Welcome, everyone. Shredders Unite Biz Call. I'm super excited to welcome Paul and Bonnie Perkins to our call tonight. Paul and Bonnie were our ISA Millionaires number 25 in the company. They were original Crystal executives. I think we referred to them as founding Crystal executives. And what that means is they're part of that original group. And Bonnie, if I'm wrong, I'm sure you can correct me. They were with the company from the very beginning. They literally speak, breathe, and live our culture. And I personally am excited because I get to learn from the best. And what I mean by that, I have you got to give them a lot of props. I have so much respect for the people that started this company, in that when we started, we had a 9-day system, very similar to what we're doing today, but it did not taste very good. There was no instruction. There was no internet. There was no coaching at that time. A lot of it was direct in terms of phone calls, and we did do some group conference calls, but there were a million challenges. So for the people that were able to do it back then and have the success that they've had is totally amazing, because today we have every single tool available to us. It's almost too easy. And it's almost impossible to fail if you're willing to open your mouth and yap and talk to people. So anyway, without further ado, I want to welcome Paul and Bonnie Perkins from Utah. Paul and Bonnie, are you there?
We are. How you doing, Bob?
Hey, Paul. Bonnie, are you on?
Can you hear me?
Do I have Bonnie? There you are. Awesome. It might be a little bit more challenging with the three of us on here. So what I thought I would do is first I'm going to announce the disclaimers. I've posted them on my Facebook page, as well as we're going to be reposting it in this group. Bottom line is we're going to be talking about income tonight. This is our business call. And with that, basically, when we refer to an ISA millionaire, what that means simply is that the individual has made $1 million cumulatively over the lifespan of their, if you want to call it their career, or basically being in their involvement with Isagenix. Incomes are not capped. People have earned much more than that. But when we refer to the millionaire status or legacy club, that's what it's attributed to. Then I must also say that income levels are going to be dependent upon you, the individual. It's all up to you. And obviously that comes with your skill set, your knowledge of the industry, your ability to network, connect, and so on. And that's why we have these calls, because bottom line is what I'm hoping for is that people will be able to identify something that they can relate to, that they can say, oh my gosh, Bonnie sounds like me. Paul sounds like me. I think I can do that. And simply put, is that this is a very simple business. But in most cases, we allow ourselves to get in our own way. We play head games and so on. So we'll get into a lot of that. But Paul, I'm going to start off with you. So tell me, how did you and Bonnie come to this? Or was it Bonnie's idea? Or you were here from the very beginning. So I'm so excited to hear the story.
Well, you know what? She had already joined Isagenix when I found out. Okay. So she said she had me go to a meeting with her, and I thought we was going to some other meeting. We got there, and it happened to be her sponsor and Tony Escobar at the time. So believe it or not, we went in his basement, and he had about 50 people there at the time. And Tony says he was going to give a 45-minute presentation. And then Doug, which was Bonnie's sponsor, said, after that, we're going to take a 10-minute break, and you're welcome to leave if you'd like. And I remember looking at Bonnie, because at that time, I was 100% against network marketing completely. So I says, he says, we're going to take a 10-minute break after. And so actually, Tony gave a really nice 45-minute presentation. And Doug says, okay, we're going to take a 10-minute break. If you'd like to leave, you can leave. And I looked at Bonnie and says, you mean to tell me that this guy's going to let me leave? Needless to say, nobody left. And he showed us the compensation plan for Isagenix at the time, and it took maybe 10 to 12 minutes. And I was sold right then. I thought, you've got to be kidding me. Because what I seen in the compensation plan is you didn't have to do it by yourself. You always had help.
Now, Paul, you mentioned that you did not like the concept of network marketing. Had you been involved in previous companies prior to Isagenix?
Actually, Bonnie did, and it actually pretty much broke us. you know how that goes. And so I didn't have a really good taste in my mouth for network marketing. So, but then I found out after the presentation Doug gave us, I knew that this was a real deal.
So tell me, what's your business background?
Well, I went to college for business, but actually I was a locomotive engineer for the railroad.
Okay.
So I did that for like 43 years. So.
Well, the reason why I asked that, it was obviously very astute for you to recognize just in a 45-minute presentation, the concept of building teams and the fact that you're going to be able to leverage your business. That's impressive. I mean, that obviously all hats off to Tony. I know he's very good at what he does, but that's pretty impressive. So you came in basically very skeptical, but willing to listen. But after that presentation, you said, okay, I can see the value here. So go on.
So I could see the value, but I still had questions about it. So I went home, and it took me 3 days, and I tore this thing down thinking, how can this possibly work? I mean, they can't, because it was 2 legs at the time, and everybody gets paid by the volume. And I'm thinking, you know what? This can't work because it's going to run out of money. It can't happen. Mm-hmm. And after about 2 or 3 days, I remember looking at Bonnie and goes, I finally get it. I thought, if this is so neat. So after that, then we was going to go to another meeting in another week. And so my daughter, Kimber, and my boy, I had to actually pay Kimber $20 to go to the meeting just to listen.
You bribed her?
I says, Bonnie asked her, and she says, no, I'm not going there. I says, okay, here's the deal, Kimber. Just go listen one time. I'll give you $20. It's worth your money. Take an hour, and then you can judge from there. So I remember.
Now for people who don't know, Kimber King is your daughter, and she's
Correct.
Also an Isagenix millionaire and very, very successful. So this is a family affair on many levels. But so you actually, and this is hilarious, you had to bribe her $20 to go listen. What was her first opinion?
Okay, so this is really kind of strange because I took Kimber in my car. Bonnie went in her car. Well, I was taking Kimber home after, and she says, I don't know, Dad, I think this might work. I says, I'll tell you what, Kimber. She says, all I do is want to make $700 a month just to supplement her income. And I says, okay, that's great. But can I have everything you make over $700 a month? And she goes, I don't think so. So that's how that came about.
So had you guys have you had at least experienced the product at that point in time, or was it just the business presentation and the science presentation that Tony did?
Actually, you know what? Bonnie tried the product. I hadn't really done a whole bunch of it at that time, but then I decided, well, you know what? Because, I mean, I was a railroader. I mean, I was on trains all the time. I didn't eat right. I didn't sleep right, So I thought, you know what? Maybe I better try the product. So I tried the product, and it wasn't good, but we just figured that, you know what? I don't care what it tastes like. If it does what it's supposed to do, it's got to help us.
And that is something, because I came in a few years after. This was 2002, correct?
Right.
Okay, so would you say early on in like August, September? What time frame was it?
It was in June.
In June. Okay, it was like right before the company even had their first launch date. Then.
Oh yeah, it was.
Okay, wow, that's impressive. So, what did Tony say in his presentation that really jumped out at you? That really got your attention?
Actually, you know what? It's kind of hard to remember back then, but I remember Tony. What was neat about it is I thought it was really short and duplicatable. Okay.
Okay.
And then the business plan was so simple because you only had to build 2 legs. So
right.
anytime somebody sponsored underneath you on one of your legs, everybody got the volume. So it just went up. And I thought, hey, this is a real deal. It cannot not work, you know? And so we just continued to go crazy after that.
I have so much mad respect for you, only in that it took me 5 years to admit that this thing's going to work, because I kept looking at the business model and I couldn't figure out how they would be able to pay people to infinity. In other words, in a lot of these other companies, they'll pay down 8 or 10 individuals, right. And then it stops. It just ends. And you're limited on that aspect. So, I mean, when you were looking at this and saying you're only building 2 legs and it can go down forever and you get paid on everybody, that's what really tripped me up in the beginning. The science struck me, and I came to it from a health perspective. So you came to it from an opposite standpoint. You came to it looking at it as an opportunity,
right?
And you hadn't yet tried the products. And I know when you first tried it, you said it didn't taste good. I'm assuming you got pretty decent results.
I did. I mean, okay. I got great results. Now, for me, because of what I did for a living, I was an engineer, so I'd be on call 24 hours a day. I ran from Ogden to Elko, Nevada, and it was kind of funny because I was one of them guys that I would never eat on a train. I just I just wouldn't take food with me. I just thought, sometimes you might be on that train for 4 hours or 12, Then I'd always eat when I got to my home terminal or away from home terminal or whatever. But then I started to take these products before I went to work. And then it made all the difference in the world. Because it would just hold me over till I could eat. I never did get real bad as far as hunger or anything.
So tell me, how then did you guys devise a business plan in terms of how are you going to go forward? How are you going to share it? I mean, how did it start? I mean, because literally you guys started with nothing. I mean, it was the concept of the business model. There wasn't a website at that time. Really? And you had very little instruction, I don't think. You had a little bit, but it was archaic. It was very limited. I'm just trying to paint the picture for the audience, because it wasn't something that, this is kind of Herculean in terms of what you guys did. So how did you get started? Was it Tony's lead? What was the methodology?
Well, for me, what we did, we decided, okay, this is what we're going to do. And we was pretty financially strapped at the time. And we thought this was going to be our way out. So we decided we was going to tell everybody. So I would go to work all the time and I would tell these guys on the railroad. And the way I presented it to them, I says, you know what, this is what I'm doing now. And I'm only telling you what I'm doing now because I don't care whether you do it or not. This is exactly what I said. I could care less whether you do it or not, but I don't want you coming to me 5 years from now and say, why didn't you tell me back when you got in? So I told them, and then it was their choice after that. And you cannot believe how many people that wouldn't do it, that 2 or 3 years after they says, boy, I wish I did it when you did it.
Wow.
But
so
we just talked to everybody,
people.
Bob. Yeah.
Okay. So
hey,
Bonnie,
Bob.
I know you tell us about your background. I know you shared with me you were a hairdresser, so you had experience in network marketing. So tell me your story.
Okay, Bob. Can you hear me?
Yes, hear you. Great.
Paul forgot to tell you his product experience. He needs to share that, I would say, because that really built our business, was his product experience and mine, and then everything kind of came together. So I'll share.
Okay. Well, okay, I'll tell you. So I was like I said, I was a locomotive engineer. I was on the train all the time. I smoked. I drank tons and tons of coffee. I did all this stuff. So I started taking the product in 2002, and after taking the product all this time, I've just figured, you know what? It's better to take the product and be healthy and smoke as smoke and not take the product.
I'm sorry about
Yeah.
that. Yeah. You broke that was my bad. Can you say that again, Paul?
Oh yeah. So I smoked at the time, and I drank a whole bunch of coffee on the train and everything like that. And so I just figured it'd be better to take the product and smoke rather than not take the product and still smoke. So after about, I don't know, 8 months or something like that, I decided, you know what, this is crazy. Why smoke and take the product to be healthy? And so I just, on Kimber's birthday, matter of fact, I just said, that's it. I just quit smoking. And I'm telling you, it was so easy to do. And I smoked for 38 years. So it wasn't like I just smoked a couple of years and then quit. I smoked for 38 years and I quit that day. And I'm telling you, I contributed to the product because I just quit and thought, you know, well, plus people won't quit smoking and stuff like that because they're going to gain weight. I wear exactly the same size clothes now as I did when I was in high school.
I'm finally there because of Jesse. No, I'm back to my high school weight. But let me ask you this. So Bonnie, you had your story. Tell me your story with your Isagenix experience.
Okay, I'm going to tie my product experience into my business experience.
Okay.
And so I was a hairdresser for 34 years. Back in 2002, I found myself sick, tired, overweight. And I'm going to kind of fill the gaps with what Paul didn't say. We were really stressed. People as hairdressers would know, your clients come and go. And my clients, a lot of them were dying, to be honest. And a lot of them were moving. And so my business kind of took a hit. And so it kind of affected, it did affect my health, the stress of it all. But as a hairdresser, my hands were literally raw. And the chemicals, in those days, we did a lot of permanents. And my hands were raw, and I still worked. I didn't have sick leave, and I needed the money. And Paul made good money, but I have to say, when he talked about we about lost everything, I got into supplementing, and I was with another company for 18 years. And I got so dependent on the supplements that I spent a lot of money on those products. But I made a conscious decision that I was going to find a way to be healthy without medication, only if absolutely needed. And so I'll be honest, I was in a depressed mode, and my mother had been addicted to prescription drugs my whole life. And I was praying, I'll be honest, I was praying, not feeling really good, but you know what? I'm going to keep looking for something that can help me naturally. And so that kind of evolved, Bob. And I just and it wasn't about network marketing, but I call it ignorance on fire. Every company, and I'll be honest, I did try a bunch of different companies, and I look at it as my first company. I was in there 18 years. And for a while, the products worked for me, but because of my results in the beginning with that, people would see my results and they'd join me. So I started getting checks back, and I'm like, I don't even know the comp plan. I do now. And you're right, Isagenix has probably one of the best comp plans, because all the comp plans I've been involved in, they had the breakaway, and I know some of you are familiar with that. And they pay
why don't you tell people what a breakaway is for those that don't know it?
Okay. So basically, in other composition plans, you only get paid maybe 5 levels, 6 levels. And then after that, it breaks away, and you don't get any more off your group, you might say, but the company gets. That's why people are skeptical. And that's why it was so frustrating, because Paul's seen it, we've seen it.
I've also studied because people would bring me these business models and say, what do you think about it? And I would want to pull my hair out. I'd look like Jesse today if I was still studying this stuff. Just kidding you, buddy. You got your hat off. point being, though, is
You look good, Jesse.
the point being is that this is another big plug for our business model, and that is you work really hard. You put your soul into your people, and you want to make sure they get a very, very good result. And then if they're willing to share, then it's like, God bless you. Yeah, let's go lock arms and let's go to work. But in other business models, if you get a rock star and they surpass you in rank, they would break away. You would lose them as well, as another way of losing it. So here's the frustration: is that a lot of us now are coming into in this business model. We're brand new. We may not really understand what we're doing, but our whole goal is we want people below us to be more successful than we are. I mean, we truly, truly want that. That's the essence of this business model. Yeah. And I have to tell you, that's totally different with every other company out there, because they follow that old methodology of, if somebody surpasses you, they break away. So I'm sorry, Bonnie, I just wanted to make, that's one of the distinctive reasons why I think we've got the best business model in the industry for that reason. But please tell me, how did you share your story, though, in terms of how did you attract your people? Because you don't get to the level of success you had without attracting a lot of people into your organization. So how did you share? What was your story? How did you go about it?
Well, basically, the 9-day, which that's all we had, I just took the product and I got results. I got I think it was 9 days, I lost 10 pounds, 12 inches. And as you all have heard, I mean, the cleanse drink didn't taste like it does now. We didn't have mango, and it was really tough. And I had that health challenge going on as well, but I was also 30 pounds overweight. And I believe it was the stress that what I was going through financially, and being a caretaker of my beauty shop. My mom lived with us. I just felt overwhelmed and I was crashing. After 9 days, not only did I lose some weight, but I felt good. Paul didn't know this, but he did at the meeting when we were talking, and Tony was talking afterwards. I stood up and I said, "Oh, by the way, Paul, at that time I'd lost 20 pounds. He hadn't even noticed.
Oh, Bonnie.
No, because, when I did hair, I was covering up. I had a little cape I wore, and I didn't want him to know until I knew I was going to have results, because he had been so angry with me, if you can believe it. Now, what are you doing, Bonnie? Now, how much is it going to cost us? And so that's kind of where, and bless his heart, he had good reason to be skeptical about this. And so, as we all know, Tony Escobar, I mean, he is a wealth of information, and we'd all just sit there and it's like, don't stop talking, because we learned so much. And so that, plus the compensation, I'd never been in a company that was so well balanced. We had the product and the comp plan. Most of the companies I'd been in, like we just talked about, their comp plan was not that simple. It was hard, and I worked it. I was getting money back, but I knew that at a certain point it was going to drop off. And so, but I didn't know anything different. And so when my sponsor came to me and he said, "I want you just to come up to my house." And at that time, I was in tears. I was crying. I didn't dare tell Paul, "You know what, Paul, I've only got $7 in my pocket. That's all we have." He was out working, and I thought, things just got rough. So my story really is from pennies to millions, and it makes me cry, because it was tough. And I did not have any money to enroll in this ISA something. And Doug just said to me, my sponsor, he said, "Well, just write me a check for $165. And I said, "Paul will kill me, and I don't know how I'll repay you." He says, "I'll just hang on to it. Just write me a check." And at that time, he was kind of giving me a little bit of shake and a little bit of snacks and then a cleanse drink, of course. And I had been listening to Robert Kiyosaki, and Bob, we talked about personal growth. I'd been listening to Robert Kiyosaki talk, and that was in December. And he talked about correct principles. He talked about investing. He talked about, he said, do 3 things. He said, start paying a tithing or whatever you want to call it, a charity. Put 10% in for that. Put 10% in for your bills, 10% for yourself. Those three things. I got 3 banks, and I put all the change every time I got some money in those banks. I started with my 10% in all 3 of them. And so Doug had told me to write him this check, and I'm like, I don't know where we're going to get the money. I just have no idea. And so I did it in tears, not knowing what this ISIS stuff was. Nothing really, just drink the shake and drink this cleanse. And anyway, I came home and I was afraid, of course, to tell Paul. So I didn't. And it wasn't that I was hiding it from him. I wanted to know that it worked. I came home and I dumped out all 3 of my banks. I had exactly $165 in change.
Wow.
Exactly what I wrote the check for. If you don't think that was an answer to prayer, and to me, it was divinely inspired. And the rest is, I just started having results. People seen my results. And people were going, what in the heck are you doing? And I was ignorance on fire. I didn't have to know. I did know ingredients. I did. I'd studied and read about herbs, my own personal study for 30 years. I could tell you about a lot of herbs, a lot of candida, whatever. And it didn't matter. What mattered was I took those products and people are going, what are you doing? And so that's what happened. And I don't know what more you want me to tell. Of course, there's a lot.
Well, there is. No, this is wonderful. I think one of the things, especially for the people who are brand new, I mean, we do have something super, super special with ER Shred, but in the beginning of this company, and I've heard this theme over and over and over again, and it also included myself. I mean, I had gone through a bankruptcy. I also had a health crisis. And I mean, I hit bottom. I hit really rock bottom because I kept on saying it can't get any worse than this, and it would get worse. That said, I marvel at the fact that a lot of people look at this as an answer to prayer, or they're actually putting it up to the universe to say, or God, please, open up a door for me because I'm hurting, both from the aspect of either a health crisis or in some cases both. But obviously in your situation, it was also from a financial situation. It was a lot of stress in the family, which we know, as Jesse has pointed out, stress produces cortisol, which can lead to weight gain and disease and all other things, right? When it could break down our health. What I hear from both of you is that when you saw the opportunity and the light bulb went off, the other motivating factor is you had a deep, deep desire to succeed. And it sounds like you were willing to do whatever, as Peter would say, do whatever is required. The ships had already burned. There was no going back. It was, we got to make this work. Tell me, how did you work with the Escobars, or how did you start developing? Because one of the keys to your success is you have to develop leaders. Now, I know Kimber very early on was one of your key business builders, but tell me, how did your team evolve? How did you develop the leadership?
Well, first of all, I just have to say, real people, real results. That's what it was all about. And people that started on the products, of course, I recognized who was a product user or who might possibly be a business builder. And I think same with Kimber. I think she did the same thing. Now, we just kept building on products, of course, in the beginning, because we didn't have anything. And I'm not the most techie person, but I just remember Kathy Cooper constantly saying, keep enrolling, keep enrolling. And that just resonated with me. And so I just kept sharing. And because of my results, people were flocking. And I had piles of applications. And if you got people in the wrong spot, you might say, it took 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know if Connie remembers that, but it took a while to get.
Well, this was in the infancy of the internet. I mean, so it was literally DSL dial up. It was real archaic. As I said, it was the archaic. It was the beginning. And when I laugh, when you say applications, That's how these businesses actually operated.
That's the way it started.
They sent you a business folder, which included applications, you know, that you would actually fill out the application, right, to sign people up in. Yeah, it was the old school of, you know, filling out papers and taking checks. What was it that you did in terms of, you had the results, people got excited. Did you lead, was it a similar vein? Because I know basically we borrowed so much from the Escobars in terms of how they built in the beginning and focusing on results. Is it very similar today to what you did back then, or was it a little bit different?
I'd say a little bit different, but what I wanted to say is I think, let's just say the belief in the, you know, if you have the belief in the products, compensation, yourself, and results. And then I literally said to one gal, I really feel this is something that you might be interested in, right? And she was my number one person. She was my number one person. And my sponsor, I want you guys to really listen to this, because a lot of times sponsors quit or they don't work it or whatever. And my sponsor came to me and Paul and said, you know what, after a year and was really making a pretty good income without the bonuses, he said, I just want you guys to know that we're going to leave the company. And I was one of those, I was a follower. I wasn't ready to stand up or take over. But, and that's when Randy and Tony, how it evolved, they stepped in. Randy stepped in, got to know us, and who knows how far down the line we are from him. That impressed me, that somebody from the top making great money would come down and be our encouragers and cheerleaders. And therefore, so I didn't have anybody above me enrolling me. And so that's where this, I believe, the culture is with Isagenix, and what we're doing that we'll talk about in a few minutes as well, is the culture of the possibility of, and that's where the leaders evolved, our leaders. And when you say who's our leaders, you know, we've had leaders come and go. And I just have to say right now how grateful I am that I have such a belief in a company, the product, the community, and people that have stayed with us. Not just me and other, yourself, Bob. There's just something there that it create. You know, you start as a product user and you end up thinking, you know what, I can do this. And any of you on here that your sponsors maybe stepped out, that's really a great opportunity to step up. And that's what happened. And that's what's happened with a lot of different people, say on our team. People that have stayed, they're stepping up. And that's where the leaders are created. Connie Norleen's one of them.
So I know I've talked about this in the past, because this is tough interviewing, because I could ask a zillion questions. We got 20 years, 19 and a half years to get through, right? We'll fast forward. So you guys were Millionaire number 25 in the company. That happened in what, year 2006, 7, somewhere around there?
2005.
2005? Okay, which is still early on. The company had only been around 3 years. Here you went from, as you said, pennies to making $1 million in 3 years. And if I do my math, that's about $333,000 a year on average that you made, which is incredible, insane money even today. So it's like the impossible becomes the possible. I mean, it's really mind-boggling. I think that one of the things that separate you, Paul and Kimber, is you've always led with a servant heart, and that you care for your team and you care for the people. And I think that also that's obviously exemplified by the Escobars. I mean, that's Tony, that's Randy Escobar. And one of the things that she mentioned is that Randy was willing to reach down to you and reconnect and support you. And that's a big positive. So for those that are building your teams, it's so critical that not just who you enroll, but please, please, please pay attention to who are the people in your organization. And they don't have to be sponsored by you. That means anybody that's below you in what we refer to as your tree, there's diamonds in the rough out there. They just need to be recognized, uplifted, or reach out and contact them. And I think that with the technology that we have today with our back office, you have the ability to comb your organization and actually look for, and you can see who's building, who's sharing, and so forth. And I think that's so, so important. For those that don't know, she mentioned Kathy Coover. Kathy Coover is our co-founder of the company. Jim and Kathy Coover started it with John Anderson. What was it like? Tell me, because you were there early on with John Anderson when he had his vision. Tell people what was it about John Anderson when he created the company, and what was it, the vision he shared with you all?
How do you want to share?
Oh yeah, you know what? Well, let me go. I want to say something first before I go there, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Tony and Randy, for instance, we was taught real early in our business career in Isagenix that, you know what, you had to help your downline, because we would go out, we'd set these meetings up, and we would call Tony and Randy to come down and to be at our meeting, and they would come every single time. They'd come like twice a month to our meeting. We'd have 250, 300 people at the Union Station, and they would come down and present for us, and they taught us to make sure to help your people, because they helped us a lot, and then we learned real quick to help our people too. So, but I thought I'd better tell you that.
That's amazing. And 200 to 300 people, that's no small feat.
No, it's not. But it was good.
What did you do to entice them to come? You weren't giving $20 bills out to everybody.
Bob, you can't believe it. We'd go to the store, and I would be going to talk to Bonnie, and she wasn't there, and I'd look back. She's 35 feet, 40 feet behind me talking to somebody. And it was like that constantly. She talked to everybody she seen.
Now, did you have a methodology like Tony has shared, talk to 10 people a day, 20, you're going to sign up, talk to 10 people a day, that's, 200 people a month, and you're going to basically sign up 20 people and 4 will be business builders, whatever. But did you have any methodology like that or requirement, or was it just basically you were opportunistic? You just, when you saw the opportunity, you shared?
Paul, he used to basically say, what'd you go talk to him for? And I honestly just had impressions. I don't know if some of you relate to that, but I just feel impressed to talk to people. And I knew how to connect, you might say. I love people. I love finding out who they are, where they are, and I just start talking and asking questions. And next thing I knew, we were talking about what they were doing or what they wanted to do or what they could do. It was basically just asking the right questions is what I just had that gift, I guess from being a hairdresser. I just knew how to connect with people. And he'd look at me like I was nuts. And I called it going through the fire. He looked at me and he'd say, why did you go talk to that person? But that's something I want to touch on in a few minutes is our negative thoughts. Where do they come from? We'll talk about that eventually. But that's what built our business. I didn't ignore those feelings. If I had an impression to talk to somebody, I went. And
so did you have the opportunity to talk to Bill Mayer early on, who was the author of Ask the Right Questions? Is that where that came from? Okay, so the audience knows. And that book is still available, by the way, on Amazon. I have it here, I think, in my desk here. I don't want to search for it, but it's a terrific book. It's a short book, but it's concise and it's so true. And I would say it's something that's key to our business. I think everybody should read it. Now, let's, as our company grew, and one of the things I think what allowed us to be successful in the early days is that we were very focused because all we had was a 9-day. That's all we had. So everyone shared the 9-day. It was duplicatable. So fast forward to ER Shred, what we've created simply is it's the extra 2 days, but it's an 11-day system. But it's a specific system that we're focused on, that we're sharing. It isn't, 100 products or, come see what fits and you may like this or, we're very focused in our target marketing in terms of what we're doing, which is kind of where we were in the beginning. My view is, I think over time as the company grew, we lost our way because we lost our messaging. You know, who are we? The company wanted to get away from being known as a weight loss company. I look at, you might, if you have weight to lose, you'll lose it. But if you don't have weight to lose, there's plenty of people who've gained weight on our program who need to gain weight. So it isn't necessarily a weight loss program, but I think that getting away from our messaging hurt our businesses in various degrees. So Kimber's successful, you're successful, I think the company peaked at around 2015, 16. We saw some changes in the formulations. The shakes weren't working as well for you, that type of thing. Let's get to the point of ER Shred. Who made you aware of ER Shred? Obviously Escobar's, you're close with Randy. Tell me, was it Randy that called you up about ER Shred? How did that happen?
She called me for about 8 months. And I said, there's no way I'm going to do that. First of all, I was this close to being vegetarian. I mean, I wanted my salads, my greens. Don't you dare talk to me about meat. I can't do it. It hurts my stomach. And there's no way I'm going to incubate a shake. What do you mean I have to let it sit on the counter? There's no way. And so I listened to her for quite a while talk about it. And then, of course, I kept, hearing more about it. And I can honestly say it was like a light bulb. I can remember walking out of my bedroom and it was like I seen this light bulb. And it's like, oh my gosh, I haven't been getting enough protein. I've been getting more veggies than I've been getting meat or protein. And in the beginning, I was drinking 2 and sometimes 3 shakes a day. And I ended up drinking 1 and it was like, oh my gosh. So Connie Norleen and another person, this Lisa, my friend, we just started talking and we just decided, okay, let's listen to Jesse. And it just all of a sudden made so much sense. It was crazy. It just like, I had the biggest shift in my head, I can't tell you. And so I'm telling you, ER Shred and the community and the board, you guys, and Jesse's a wealth of, I just wish everybody would jump on the calls. And some of the biggest skeptics, I guess I was pretty skeptical. Here's Randy and Tony saying, you got to try this. And knowing Tony's research is like, he had to shift as well. And it's just evolved. And so, do you want me to share my results?
Yes, please.
I started in November and I followed it pretty darn good. And I think, I can't even remember exactly. I think the first shred I lost 6 to 8 pounds. And I'm down now, and I've done about 5 shreds. I'm down 22 to 24 pounds and 24 inches. And wow. It's, as you all know, you come alive. It's like, this is amazing. And some of the biggest skeptics I've had that have maybe, I don't know, they don't dare say they're doing it or trying it. I'm hearing some great results of people that are kind of under the table doing it and having great results. And some of them have been some of the biggest skeptics. And so don't be afraid of skeptics. Just when it's their time, they're going to be your best people. And it's just amazing what's happening. Paul, what do you keep saying to me?
First of all, I can't believe it. You know what? I'm telling you, Bob, since ER Shred come about, this is like it was in the beginning of the company. I mean, the excitement was just unreal when we started in Isagenix. And then, like you said, it just kind of, everybody just kind of went their own way or whatever. But since ER Shred has come up, it's excited everybody back in the company, I think. And this is like it was when we first started the company. I just think it's absolutely great. And I would tell Bonnie. It's
truly almost like it's like a rebirth.
It is. It is. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and I was one of the guys told Bonnie, I said, I don't know if I'd incubate that shake. Of course, you got to realize I like the shake, but you know,
So
and I'm on the calls all the time.
That is a foreign concept. So is it because it was Jesse said, suck it up, buttercup, and you got to incubate the shake, or
Jesse's
yeah, it's all
what
Jesse's
got you to,
fault.
what finally got you to incubate the shake? Because that
Well,
it is kind of.
I just think listen to Sean, listen to you, listen to everybody that's on your calls. I mean, the excitement's there and the results is there. That's what built our company in the beginning was the results. So that's what we needed again to build now is some kind of results that we knew it helped everybody one way or another, you know.
And without question, results drive the business. Exactly. I mean, I don't know and I think Peter's so right on this, but this is where I've always 100% agreed with him. And that is, I don't know a company out there that doesn't drive its business model because they've got good results. I mean, it doesn't last. And I think what Jesse and what Sean and the community has created here with the ER shred concept is so genius in that it's genius in its simplicity, but it's genius in the fact that it's easy and the results are even better than it was in the past. And then when you match it with a top-notch business model that we have, and with the technology, with social media, with the now site marketing, it's a head scratcher in that I'm hoping that people who are listening on this call recognize what the opportunity is before you. Here I look at you and Bonnie, and literally this is back when we had buggy whips and horses, what you were driving in the very, very beginning, the first 3 years of this business. It was before the internet. I mean, it wasn't until 2005, I think, that we came out with our first DVD. I mean, it was cassette tapes, and it just was a different world then. But the fact that you could create your first million in the first 3 years, which again works out to about $333,000 a year, I don't know anybody who wouldn't sign up for that, because I think that would probably exceed most incomes out there that you would consider. You know, I know the range of incomes that are feasible, but what I love about this is you have the ability to get healthy, and you have the ability to create or get wealthy in the process by just helping others get the same.
That's right.
It's just kind of a very unique concept. Bonnie, I don't want the time to go away. I'm sorry about my dogs. Is that I know that recently you had done a lot of personal development, and how you've talked to me today about how important that has been for your organization. Tell me about your granddaughter, and tell me about something that came about, because we all have hard times, and it doesn't. And I think the people who have the greatest amount of success probably have more failures than you even thought possible. It's just that you don't see it on the front end. So, I mean, I know you guys got some thick skin, but tell me about your granddaughter's experience and aunt.
Okay, I want all of you to take a deep breath. And I've actually wrote a few little notes, because the bottom line is personal growth for me, especially because I can talk one-on-one, but I didn't want to stand up in front of meetings of 200 and 300 people. And in this company, in this business, we need to stand up. We really do. And so it's always getting out of your comfort zone. So, and Paul's known since 1989, I've been doing different trainings, spent a lot of money going to personal growth trainings. But in particular, and bless his heart, Don Nooner, I started clear back in 1989 reading Think and Grow Rich with Napoleon Hill. And so it kind of started me on my journey then with my personal growth. But somewhere along the line, I had I want to call it a brain cramp. And of course, I've worked through all my negative thoughts at different times, and rose above, say, things, people come, people go, and, you know, things weren't going perfect in my business, or, you know, I'm not the best leader. Anybody had that thought before? And so what really hit me is you got to change your mind to change your life. Okay. So Paul and I had our granddaughters last week, and they're, of course, our grandkids. For all of us that know, all of us have darling grandkids, and they're smart, they're talented. But our little 8-year-old Lachlan shared this with us from a school counselor that told him about this book, and he actually read it to him. Our other granddaughter was trying out for cheerleader. She's 13, dancer, and unfortunately she got, without details, this boy went to hit her and she put her hand up. It broke her hand. And she was supposed to try it for cheerleader last Friday, plus a dance competition. And so she basically was devastated. She's been working hard on it. So her little sister, Lachlan, 8 years old, Paul, you should tell it really. She said, Zerica had ants in her head. And I said, ants in her head? And she's like, yeah, And I said, what does ants mean? And she says, it means, and if you got a piece of paper and pencil, write this down. The acronym for ANT is automatic negative thoughts. Have any of you on this call have any automatic negative thoughts about your business, about yourself, about a business partner, about a family member? And it was powerful. And I said, so what does that mean? She says, well, like Zerica got all upset because she wasn't going to make cheerleader. And she said, Zerica, you got ants in your head. And Zerica said, what's that? And she said, it's automatic negative thoughts. And so she said, the question is, are you 100% sure you're not going to make cheerleader? And Zerica, I guess, just looked at her and basically, Lachlan's like, you can do this. You can do this. Here's this little 8-year-old encouraging her sister. And so whatever happened, whatever. Anyway, long story short, Zerica tried out with a broken hand. She made cheerleader, and Lachlan was smiling and excited. And she said, she just decided, and Zerica's like, yeah, I did this with a broken hand. So I want you guys to think about it. Where have you got stuck in your life with your automatic negative thoughts? I feel like I got stuck a few years ago, and that's what's been holding me back with my weight, with my business, maybe some family decisions. I think it's powerful that we recognize our automatic negative thoughts and change them. Ask yourself, and how many of you go to bed at night and you wake up and you think, where did that thought come from? Where did that thought come from? Ask yourself that question. Are you 100% that was a true thought? And if it's belief in yourself, you need to change it. You need to believe you can do this business, you can do the shred, you can be successful, you deserve it. And we have the best opportunity and the best compensation, the best company, corporate. Kathy Cooper, let me tell you, every time I've talked to her, she said, just keep recruiting, keep loving on people, keep caring. And I just keep thinking of that. Automatic negative thoughts. How many times have you thought you're positive and you come up with this thought in your head? Ask yourself the question, am I 100% sure that this won't happen or this will? And shift. So you need to.
That is beyond powerful. And man, you've really hit it, because it's limiting beliefs. It's your monkey mind. It's your self-talk. It's the negative thoughts that can drive your behavior, your outlook in life. I think Jesse is such a great example of what's possible, because in your mind, you wouldn't think you could run up and down mountains, for 70 miles. But he said, hey, that's just in your head. You can achieve whatever you choose to. That's just so powerful. Is there any personal development programs that you've done or that you would recommend, or how do you promote that within your team? Because it's such a key element to get out of your own way. Is this something that you share with your team? Is this something that you promote?
Well, those of us that have really hung in there, stuck in there, I tell you, for me, it was learning personalities. And there's different ways, there's different programs that, whether it's the color coding or whatever it is to know personalities. I honestly believe It cost me an arm and a leg for a training that I did, that Connie as well did. But to learn personalities, and me and Connie have a lot of laughs about that. When you learn what kind of personality you have, especially my personality, anybody take things personal. Paul can tell you I over the top take things personal. But it's all
Can you,
about,
for the audience, can you just quickly, it's the personality quadrants. It's kind of like they teach it differently with different systems, but it's you fall into the category of 4 different personality groups, correct?
Right.
Do you want to share that, what that is?
Right. With your permission, can I have Connie Lorraine share that?
Sure.
Connie would.
Bonnie, you stinker.
Gretchen, yeah.
I have learned this many different ways. I learned it the disc method. I learned it the color method. And the one that I think that I really got the most out of was the gem method. And we learned that from a trainer you may or may not have heard of, Danny Johnson. She's just recently retired. But basically there's 4 different personalities, and one is very bottom line kind of person, and they're driven, they're money oriented, and then there's one that's very family oriented, very caring, and that's like Bonnie and I, and we take things very personally. Then there's the one that's very detail oriented. They're really good at bookkeeping and accounting, and they take things literally. And then there's the ones that like to have a lot of fun, and those are the ones that always carry the party. Whenever there's a party going on, you can count on them. And when we were in this room and we learned that real quickly, I'll just say that she divided us up into 4 groups, which most of them do, and she went to all the groups and went to the party group at the end, and they had to sit there on their hands and wait, and they just wanted to, and they had to be real quiet. And she finally got to them, and I don't know how many was sitting up on that group, but she just barely went to them, and every one of them jumped up and they started yelling and clapping and carrying on because they're the party people. And one of the things that I learned early on with that was that number 1 was knowing your own personality, because for us, if you know your own personality, you don't take things as personally because it's just their personality and they're different. The other thing for the business that I liked about it was that it taught you how to talk to someone else in their language. And so if you're talking to someone it's all about the bottom line, the dollar, what's in it for me kind of thing, then you can tell them, that in this business, you're independent, and you can, the sky is the limit on your income, and it's a very trustworthy, because they really believe in trust. And so it's a very trustworthy company and an organization. And if it's family oriented, like Bonnie and I, it's like, you do this, you're going to be able to spend so much more time with your family, and you're going to be able to give them things that they haven't been getting. And so the language is not only knowing what you are, but knowing how to speak someone else's language so that you can meet their needs and interest them in. I love this, obviously. That's why she gave it to me. Does that kind of answer the question in a nutshell?
No, it does. And we could do an entire hour on this concept, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And it's understanding what your personality is. So example, if you're either controller, CEO type boss, got to get it done, driven, yep. You're an analyst where you have to read everything and think about it. You're a promoter, like the party people, or you're a nurture supporter, like a yep. teacher or someone who's empathetic. So the idea simply is that if I'm a numbers person, you got to speak that language, versus if I'm going to talk to a nurturer, I got to talk about feelings, because that's what they're going to identify with, correct? So as you're in this industry, it's about communication. It's about how you relate to people, but it's also how you can communicate and get them to understand you. And this personality quadrant is key. It's a key element. I think we should spend more time on it. But we're getting close to the top of the hour here, but I want to ask, getting back to Bonnie and Paul, to wrap this up. I mean, you've shared so much wealth with us tonight. We are now with a new company, I think, with ER Shred. I'm going to just say we're using our fulfillment company, as Jesse would say. We've got, I think, the best science, the most amazing technology available, but we have the community, which I know is as important as Jesse would say, as Sean is saying, is really what we're driving at, is we're creating a community of gratitude, of caring and sharing, and literally understanding that if we just share the wealth, if we share our health with others, it's possible to get your products paid for. It's possible to pay for your car payment, your mortgage, etc. So given where we are with ER Shred today, Paul, what do you think the future looks like for the next 10, 20 years? I mean, how do you see yourself using ER Shred? I mean, what advice would you give us?
Well, you know what I think? I think that, like I said, the very first thing that I noticed about ER Shred is it created excitement again in the company. At least for this people like Jesse and Bob, you and all these people on there. I mean, I have to commend Jesse because I'm the kind of guy that, you know what? I like Jesse because he says it the way it is. Win, lose, or draw, you either like it or you don't, but I don't care. He says it the way it is. And it's no bull crap. He just, if you like it, you like it. And if you don't, don't. And I like that, you know, but that's my personality. You know, I want it up front, like it or not, just tell me what it is and how to do it, and I'll decide. So I got to commend you guys. I think this is a community that's so outstanding that, like I said, it takes me back to 2002. And, you know, after 19 years to see this all over again, it's really exciting. And I think this is going to build the company. I think this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And for these brand new people, if you don't get aboard now, you're really missing the boat, because I'm telling you, we got on in 2002 because there was excitement. And I'm telling you right now, the ER Shred's it's so exciting just to watch and listen and learn. It's amazing to me. So I think if you're brand new, you need to jump on the bandwagon and have a ball for the rest of the next 10 years or whatever you need to do.
That's one of Sean's biggest missions is fun. So yeah. Bonnie, what would you share?
Crystal, I just want to say, I honestly think they were divinely inspired. I really do. And to pull this team together and again, with all of you and Jesse, with his knowledge, if we can just get people to be open, to have talk to people about what do they really want. Ask the empowering questions, as in this, his name, he says basically, don't let the ants steal your happiness. We can't let the negative or the skeptical that aren't willing to be open steal our happiness. Just jump on these calls and see what happens. I can't wait to hear the testimonials. And then I'm just so excited when Sean and Crystal come on and they introduce Jesse, and the different people that honestly, everything's right there. We don't have to be the coach. You guys have created an amazing page of what everybody needs, and everybody needs something different. So thank you guys.
Yes.
For being so committed to this ER Shred lifestyle.
And Bob, at first we had the 9-day cleanse. Now we got 11-day shred. And the thing about it is, you can't believe how many times I've told her, I've heard Bonnie say, when people get really skeptical about it, Bonnie will say, hey, try it. It's 11 days out of your life. Give it a shot. See what it's like. Make your own decisions after that.
That's empowering. It's simplistic, it's empowering, and it's almost impossible to say no to that. And I think that's the genius behind what's been created here. Well, guys, thank you so much. Definitely we'll have to have you back in Kimber on next time to get her part of the story.
She's had amazing results, and she's getting married, and she looks hot. She's excited.
That's fantastic. That's congratulations. That is so key. I'm baffled. I mean, it's a head scratcher in that I don't know why it took 16 and a half years for Sean to come up with the idea of, hey, we got to get rid of these carbs on the front end and let's do an elimination reset. And let me call my buddy Jesse up and let's see if we can think about how we could put this together. Because the reality is that I think at some time the frustration is the product was working, but it only worked to a certain level. Obviously, I thought I was in great shape. I thought I was good. Didn't look my best. I blamed it on my age. But the level of wellness that I feel today, I don't have words. It's unbelievable. I am a 20 out of a 20, whereas before I would have said I was an 8 out of a 10. And it just seems to get better and better. We might be at 21,500, 22,000 people today. And that sounds like a big number, but I know that we got started in October at the worst time of the year. We're just getting started, guys. And this is the opportunity. And I wish I had listened to Peter. I wish I had listened to Tony Escobar back in 2004 and Jimmy Smith. These are powerhouses in our industry. And they all gave me the power of 2. And of course, I'm a numbers guy. And I'm like, everybody knows the power of 2. But I wasn't open-minded at the time. I wasn't ready to listen. And I refused to say, I'm in. Where Peter said, we're going to change the world. Let's do it. What I look at now is it's a restart. We have an opportunity to do this again, bigger, faster, stronger than we did in 2002. And what gets me fired up is knowing what was possible when you were literally, as Peter would say, digging the Panama Canal with a spoon, because you had applications. You didn't have the internet even. It was a slower process. So with that said, if you see the opportunity here, get out there and start sharing it. At least get your products paid for, because it will make this business model sustainable. If everybody's products are paid for, you'll never quit. And that means unlimited income for anybody that comes into your organization.
Right.
The more you talk, the more you share, the more upside you have. But what I'm excited about is we're at 22,000 now. My guess is that we're going to hit momentum soon, where it's going to start growing like 1,000 a week. And then it's going to be 2,000 a week. And then it will be 3,000 a week. And I feel like, as Paul said, I think this is going to change the company. I do feel this is the future. And the key at the end of the day is the community. I do thank everybody in our community and our group, because we couldn't do it without all of you. And the reality is that the system is so simple, it's easy to stay on the tracks, as Jesse would say. Follow the 11 days. It's 7 meals. I mean, my God, how bad is it going to get eating a ribeye for 7 meals, or mix it up and have a New York strip? I mean, it's not that bad. And it's unlimited calories, right? So I think the future is very, very bright. And again, my hat's off to you, Paul and Bonnie, for being a trailblazer, for leading the way. And thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have you back.
Well, thanks for having us. And I just want you to know, you know what, I'm on the calls all the time, and I really, really enjoy it. You guys do an outstanding job, and you should be commended for what you do. All of you, Sean, Jesse, Bob, you, all of you. So
I've learned from,
thank you.
I've learned from you guys, and I just will say that the biggest lesson in life is pay it forward. And if you get a gift, be willing to give it away and give it back to somebody else that could use it. And I live by that, if you want to call that mantra. That message simply is just pay it forward. And I'm so thankful for all of you. Good night, guys. We'll get this recorded. And
thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
You guys have a great
Good night,
night.
everyone.
Thank you.
see ya.
Thanks, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. Thanks, Bonnie. Thanks, Paul. Bye, Bye, Bob.
Thanks, Paul and Bonnie.
Bye,
Appreciate it.
Connie.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
Bob.
Awesome.